About a year ago, the voice actor of Cole, Kirby Morro, unfortunately and unexpectedly passed away. And this raised the insanely difficult to answer question of where do we go from here? Well, today LEGO announced the future of Cole moving forward for next year, and that he will be recast, and played by none other than Ninjago veteran Andrew Francis, best known for voicing Morro. This news was actually expected for Sunday, but it got pushed until today for whatever reason, and LEGO released a press release, which we're going to take a look at. And I'm not going to read this entire thing. If you want, feel free to pause it. But the main idea in these first two paragraphs has to do with the history of choosing Kirby Morro as Cole. You know, how he was, without a doubt, the right guy for the role. And then, unfortunately, he passed away last year, which really was an earthquake, as Tommy Andresen describes. This brought up a few options of where to go next. They could write him off, they could use past footage, they could just get rid of his voice, or they could recast. So they went through each of these choices and decided which ones were bad and which ones could work. So retiring Cole as a character. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this. I think this is just too random. I don't think it would have been a good way to go, as he writes here, especially after the finale of Seabound. There is grief, there is sadness. It would be out of character for him to go somewhere else. Also, I just don't really think sending him to Shintaro or something would be a satisfying ending. I think in the future, when the time comes, there will be a natural ending for his character. But in my opinion, this just wouldn't be it, and he seems to agree as well here. He also mentions this overlooked fact. Kirby Morro wasn't the only voice actor of Cole, so getting rid of the character would be a disservice to fans from non-English speaking countries, as well as the voice actors who play him there. So overall, I think it was a good call not to write him off. Option 2 was just reusing past footage. I think this could be plausible if Ninjago was about to end, or if they were doing one last special, but they're not. Ninjago's continuing until 2023 at least. It's not going to end soon. Eventually, this would become, I think, pretty inconvenient. Cole as a character wouldn't really develop. We would just be seeing the same Cole we've seen for the last decade. The great thing about Ninjago is the characters change. They get new stories. Even after 15 to 14 seasons, the stories are still fresh, and if you do this option with them, I don't think you would get these fresh, interesting new stories. And I think the same can be said about option 3, come up with the reason why he couldn't speak. This one just kind of seems too random. For me, depression and vow of silence are just no. Injury, maybe that could be done right, but even that, off screen, not the most compelling. I think there's a better option here, and that would be option 4, recast, which as we know, they did go with. The thing about this is you can kind of just pick up where you left off. You don't have to have some kind of bizarre off-screen event happen, and I think this is the most natural choice. Of course, there is going to be some sort of change in voice, but besides that, I mean, the character is still the same. He's still being written by the same people who he was written by last year. It's just the voice that's changing. And they say here that they were not looking for an imitation of Kirby Morro, so I feel like we can expect this voice to be different, and that is totally okay, I think. It's a different voice actor, and I think it's really cool to see what he's going to bring to the character. But they also say they were looking for someone with the likeness of Kirby Morro's voice, so I guess we can kind of expect a blend of the old and new. I think that's a great idea. Andrew Francis in particular, I think it was the right call to do a recast for the reasons I said, but I think it was also a better call to bring in someone who's already experienced with the Ninjago cast, a veteran. We as fans know him as Morro. He also played Shade and one of the J-clones from Prime Empire. So I think that's better than just bringing in someone we've never heard of before. This is an established figure in the Ninjago crew. So I think this was a good idea. And next year, they confirmed that there are going to be some short films that will release next year. We will see Andrew Francis as Kirby Morro in those films. Overall, this was an excellent call given the circumstances. This is not at all an easy situation. I mean, how do you go from this when the person voice acting Cole for 10 years passes away? Also, of course, this is the Ninjago community. People respond horribly to these kind of changes in the past. And I think this was an excellent call. I think everything about it was the right call. Not just recasting it, but also going with a familiar face, Andrew Francis. I think this will definitely comfort Ninjago fans and reassure them that Cole's character is in the right hands moving forward. And I think that's about it. Thank you for watching, guys. Please share your thoughts down below, but remember to be respectful, and I'll see you guys next time.